All right, I am making a plea that I need a doctor. I need a doctor that knows how to diagnose me. Need a doctor that knows what they're doing. I need either a neurologist or a gastro doctor or a gastro and a neurologist, like a combination of the two. Um, Currently, these are my symptoms. I am right now being managed on muscle relaxers. If I do not take the muscle relaxers, I am in pain constantly from spastic muscles that just will not release. Very tight muscles in my gut. And so, as far as like gut locations, so you have your main muscle here. This is where it hurts the most, right here. So when I press down, I can actually like feel the muscle right here is absolutely tender and swollen as all get out. And that muscle will shoot pain up to here, and then will shoot pain down to my pelvic area. Same with the left side. Now the left side though, it's a little bit more in between the muscle, like right here. This is where the pain is right here. That's the most painful spot right there. So those muscles are the two muscles that are causing the most issues. And currently I'm being managed with baclofen. I'm on 20 milligrams of baclofen, give or take, depending upon what I need. And then 12 to 14 milligrams of tizidine. And then if needed, I have Ativan as well to kind of throw on the top if it's a bad day, especially. Um, these spasms just don't stop. They are continual and they just kind of hang on for dear life. Um, when I wake up in the morning, that's when they start. And so at night, it does kind of seem like actually at night that I get some relief while I'm sleeping, at least. Um, but then as soon as I wake up, like I said, it starts again. And so food does tend to be a trigger. There are very specific triggers for this. And so there's kind of a rhyme and reason and then kind of not. So like certain anything with sugar is a trigger. Like shoot, if it has sugar in it, it triggers it. Anything with carbohydrates, really, like graham crackers I can eat from time to time, only in the afternoon when like my stomach's like totally worn out and I've got a ton of drugs in me. I can eat graham crackers, but other than that though, it's not taking it. Nicotine, that is one thing that just shoots right through the muscle spasms. Like as soon as I have any kind of nicotine, like my muscle spasms just amplify like 20-fold. And so I'm staying away from that. Smoking, inhaling of any kind of smoke, that is not an okay thing. That actually sends muscle spasms through the roof. Um, Sucking on like Vicks, no joke, the cough drops, or chewing a piece of gum. The just these muscles just start to ache and hurt, and it's like my gut is like knows that it's getting cheated of something, or there's like acid or something that's building up, or it's responding to the acid in my saliva. I don't know what it is, why it's responding this way. Um, like I said though, sugar, sweets, candies, certain fattening foods it does not like. Like I can eat a piece of cheese one day and then eat the same piece of cheese the next day, and it just says nope, we're done. Um, so those are the triggers. It's food really. It's is what is triggering it. Period. Any kind of food. But the foods that don't trigger it, that don't make it as angry, are like meats. Just plain plain Jane meats, not cooked a certain way, just grilled usually. I don't eat fried items. I haven't eaten fried items in a while. Um, Red meat doesn't seem to bother it. Pork doesn't seem to bother it. Fish seems to actually sit better, which is nice. Um, certain side dishes, like certain vegetables, seem to sit okay with me, but they've got to be cooked. Raw vegetables just they don't sit with me well at all whatsoever. Like, I'll start getting really bad muscle spasms. Um, and so that's what's going on. So if you want the symptoms and what is going on, then there's the symptoms and there's what's going on. Here's the history. Diagnosed with SIBO last year. In October, got sick, lost 30 pounds, couldn't tolerate any foods, was completely misdiagnosed up until like February, very beginning of February. Misdiagnosed, mishandled all the way up until February. Finally got a proper diagnosis in February and got on the right antibiotics, rifaximin, neomycin, for 3 weeks. That knocked out the SIBO. Did relatively okay for a couple of weeks. Was put on a drug called Remeron and Motegrity. So those are the two medications I was on. Remeron, Motegrity. Prior to that, no antidepressant, no sleeping med, no nothing like that. Didn't need it. The Remeron or the Motegrity, we didn't know which, was causing significant like muscle spasms. Quit the Motegrity about a month into taking it. That didn't seem to mitigate anything, so quit the Remeron about 2 months. I took it from February 25th to May 25th and ceased taking it. I did not taper. I did a total shut off. And had significant muscle spasms in my stomach, in my legs, in my arms, in my everything, neck, everywhere, for about 4 to 5 weeks, and it slowly got better. I used Ativan in the 3rd weekend to help mitigate with those muscle spasms, and that did help. And about the 6th weekend, I started getting some muscle spasms. They were going away, and actually I was getting off the Ativan. I was only on 0.25 milligrams of Ativan at that time. 0.25, so a quarter of a milligram of Ativan, and that was managing it. And I'd take that midway through the day, and I was fine. And then it just picked right back up. Like, all of a sudden something happened, and it just, nope, we're gonna get you, and picked right back up and started having the stomach spasms again, really bad. Went to my GI. They retested for SIBO. It was negative. Not a problem. Got in touch with another GI, and so I have 2 different GIs in on the case right now. The GI that treated me for SIBO at the time had done a colonoscopy and a endoscopy. Was done just like a month or 2 earlier prior to that, so they knew that it wasn't either of those 2 things, that, you know, there wasn't an issue, and they were not willing to repeat those procedures. So, nope, you know, let's put it off. It's nothing that can be, you know, dealt with that way. Wasn't getting any answers from them, wasn't getting any tests, couldn't get an appointment to see them. Spoke with my naturopath, and she was like, hey, let's go ahead and just treat as if it were SIBO again with the rifaximin, because it's been known to help with other GI issues, with irritable bowel or whatever, and let's just see what happens. So did a 14-day course of rifaximin, and in 3 days, actually, I started to feel a little bit better. Now, this was June, early June. Started to feel a little bit better, and actually started to feel somewhat normal, and told her that, and I was like, hey, I'm feeling somewhat normal, like, this is awesome. And the 4th day came by, and it got a little bit worse, and it was like, they're back, the spasms are kind of bugging me. 5th day, They're back, they're getting worse, 6th day worse, 7th day worse. Whatever it was, it did not respond to the rifaximin. It only responded to a small degree. And so she, honestly, I love my naturopath. She's the best naturopath here in Portland, Oregon. If you want her information, please, please, please email me and I will send that information to you, or I might just link it down below, because she is fantastic. She knows when she's over her head, and she has said many times with me, I'm in over my head, we need to get, she will refer me to anyone and write a referral for anyone, which is fantastic, because a lot of times it's like pulling teeth to get doctors to do that. So, wound up with the rifaximin and not getting any better with it. Dealt with my GI, my one GI who thought it was SIBO again, stopped communicating with me at this point, just kind of like cut me off and was just like, oh, well, whatever, we're done with you. We treated you for SIBO, we're done. You got all the care in the world that you need, and so, you've got some muscle spasms going on, that's IBS. So I contacted my other GI who works at any university here. He's fantastic. However, they do not have a neurogastroenterology department. I have been tested for C. diff with them, tested negative for toxins, but that was the only test that has been provided from that GI. And when he saw me, he saw that I was using a lidocaine patch, and he said, well, if the lidocaine actually does help you feel a little bit better, it's pointing more towards a neurological issue than a physical structural GI issue. And so we talked about like the muscles and the muscle spasms, and that actually being helpful for the muscle spasms, and he understands that. Although the muscle spasms could be GI related though too. So anyway, went in for a third opinion, and at the same time I did have a naturopath test with the GI maps, and I came back positive for H. pylori, and so this was about 5 weeks ago, positive for H. pylori, and I got a third opinion because my GI at the university, the only test I was provided was the C. diff test, and because he felt it's not a surgical emergency, which it's not surgically an emergency. There's not a whole lot he could do, which is a bummer, even though it is a functional, GI issue, and they treat for IBD. And I have had CAT scans, and a calprotectin test showed that I didn't have any inflammation. The CAT scans, I'm not sure what you can see from the CAT scans, but the CAT scans didn't show anything off, so, I haven't had any other screening other than those. I had an MRI back when we did the SIBO, but that was back when we did the SIBO. And so anyway, got a third GI on the case who tested for C. diff again, and it came back positive C. diff GHD positive, toxin negative. So he did treat for the C. diff, and the reason being, at the time I was having diarrhea 4 or 5 times in the morning, really watery, painful diarrhea, but the pain doesn't stop when I have the diarrhea. It just continues, my gut just continues to spasm. So I've been treated for the C. diff, did 2 rounds of Difficid, and treated for the H. pylori, did 1 round of Talicia for H. pylori, and tested positive for H. pylori with the GI maps. So those were kind of in combination of each other. And right now so where I'm sitting right now is I am sitting 2 weeks off of any antibiotic. C. diff was the last thing I was treated for. The H. pylori was treated prior to that. And that's it. Still having significant stomach spasms, where I showed you in the earlier part of the video. Like I said, I'm managed with the spasmodic medication. I am seeing a neurologist in 2 weeks, and so I'm just like hoping and praying that maybe someone sees this and they're like, hey, you know, that sounded like da 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 da. I'm trying to be honest and as open as I can be in order to maybe get help from somebody else. All right. Thank you for watching.